Hello sports fans, it is Wednesday, April the 17th, the year 2013, and as usual, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. We're going to do our Major League Baseball State of the Union in a second. I'm also going to go through some scores of note from last night, preview what's coming up tonight in the sports world, but some new information coming out of Boston since the last time we talked yesterday. They have released the name of the second victim. We knew yesterday an 8-year-old boy was one of the victims. Now they're saying the second victim is a 29-year-old woman. Identity of the third victim yet to be released. Our hearts go out to all the victims. I mean, I don't know how you get over something like this. I mean, I don't know how you explain something like this. Our hearts go out to all the victims. They also are saying now that the person or people that did this used pressure cookers, at least in one of the bombs, put them in backpacks, left them on the side, and then detonated them later on. So that's what they're saying about that. They're also saying that only 2 bombs were found. That contradicts a couple of reports from 2 days ago where they were saying 2 bombs went off, but a couple didn't detonate. They're not saying that they're up there in Boston. They're saying only 2 bombs found. Those were the 2 that went off. So that contradicts a couple of reports from various news sources from a couple days ago. Also, no suspect in custody as of right now. That one person of interest, that didn't look like it materialized at all. So you hope the authorities get to the bottom of this. I mean, there's a lot to go through here. I mean, there's just a mountain of stuff to go through. I hope there's some surveillance around the scene. I mean, this day and age, there are video cameras everywhere. You would think in that epicenter of Boston, with all those buildings around and right near the finish of the Boston Marathon, there has to be some video surveillance. Now, they didn't really comment on that yesterday. Haven't heard anything. You would think there's some video surveillance somewhere where you can see people coming and going, and hopefully they can catch whoever did this, coming and going on the videotape. I really hope there's some video surveillance. I think there would be, although no one has really commented on that, but they might not want to tell you all, everything that's going on in this investigation either. So hopefully there is some video surveillance. Also, as far as going forward, as far as security, I mean, I don't know what you do here. I mean, basically they brought backpacks with pressure cookers in them and just left them by the side and detonated them. To me, maybe you don't allow backpacks near an event. And if someone has a backpack, they have to be searched. I mean, basically tell people you cannot bring a backpack to an event. If you do, you're going to be searched and it's going to be confiscated. I mean, I know it's easier said than done because you're dealing with thousands and thousands of people, not including the runners. But I mean, to me, that would be the way to go. Because if you tell the public, do not bring backpacks, they're going to take it away. I mean, they're not going to bring them. And if they do, they're going to stand out. People are going to notice. They're going to be like, hey, look, this guy's got a backpack. I mean, this person's got a backpack. This woman's got a backpack. They're going to point it out. I mean, I know it's easier said than done. I mean, but there has to be a better way to go about this. I mean, it can't be this easy to just put a pressure cooker with a bomb in a backpack and just stroll up to the event and leave it there and detonate it later. Gotta be a way to get it to prevent this. Has to be. I know it's easier said than done. And from what I understand, the authorities did a great job. The first responders did a great job. I don't want to point fingers at anyone. But going forward, there's got to be a way to improve this security situation. All right, so that's kind of where you are right now. I hope they find this person or people very, very soon. I think they will. Might take some time, though. There is so much to go through here. So we will definitely be keeping an eye on that. And, of course, our thoughts are definitely with the victims, with their families, with the people still in the hospital, still recovering from their injuries. We're thinking about all year. We're thinking about Boston. We're going to be thinking about Boston forever now. This is like 9/11 in New York. This is going to be in your thoughts and minds forever. This will never go away. So that's kind of where we are with Boston. We will be watching Boston. We are pulling for you. We are thinking about you. You keep your chin up. Hang in there. All right, as far as some scores of note from last night, let's start in Major League Baseball. The Colorado Rockies swept the Mets in a double dip in Colorado, so nice job by Colorado. Colorado's playing decent ball this year. Baltimore beat Tampa Bay. Boston beat Cleveland. Boston's better than I thought this year early in the season. And, of course, they're going to be getting Big Papi back soon. Yankees beat Arizona. It's funny, the Yankees couldn't look dead in the water for 6 innings and not do anything. And then with one swing of the bat from Robinson Cano, they get a win. That's how the Yankees operate. White Sox beat Toronto. Atlanta continued their winning ways. They beat Kansas City. Jay Upton, another home run. Number 8. Are you kidding me? How good is Atlanta playing? Miami beat Washington. Texas beat the Cubs. Milwaukee beat San Francisco. Minnesota beat the Angels. I'll tell you, the Angels are digging themselves a monster hole early in this season. I know it's early, but you don't want to dig yourselves a gigantic hole this early in the season. Remember, the Angels don't have Weaver for another month. Their pitching has been atrocious. Their lineup, which we thought was going to be spectacular, hasn't been firing on all cylinders. Do not like what I see from the Angels at all, but it is very, very early. Oakland beat Houston. Oakland is the best team no one knows about. Keep an eye on Oakland. Very good team. Detroit beat Seattle, and San Diego for the second straight night beat up on the Dodgers. I mean, Dodgers have been stumbling since that Greinke incident. San Diego beats up on them last night. There were also a couple rainouts last night. Pittsburgh was beating St. Louis 4-2 in the second inning. They rained that game out. It's not an official game, so everything gets wiped out. They start from the beginning. To me, can we do without that rule? Let's pick up, where the game, left off. We don't need to go back to the beginning. It was 4-2 Pirates in the second inning. Whenever they make the game up, just continue from there. I don't need to go back to the beginning. That's a bad rule baseball has. Just pick it up from where we left off. Also, Philadelphia and Cincinnati was 0-0 in the ninth when they got rained out. Now, they will continue that game because it was a 0-0 tie after the fifth inning. So that game they will eventually continue. I believe they will continue that early tonight before their regularly scheduled game. But the other rule is bad. Just pick up the game where you left off. No need to go back to the beginning. So that was kind of the stuff with Major League Baseball last night. NBA, real quiet night in the NBA. Indiana and Boston were canceled, of course. Clippers beat Portland. Tonight is the last night in the NBA season before we hit the playoffs, believe it or not. Over to the NHL last night. Islanders beat Florida. Islanders are going to make the playoffs. Washington beat Toronto. Washington and Ovechkin are on absolute fire. Ottawa beat Carolina. Very resilient team. Ottawa. Philadelphia beat the Rangers. Nice back-to-back wins for the Flyers. I mean, they're out of it probably, but they beat Montreal on the road, then came back and beat the Rangers, and the Rangers really needed this game. Wasn't impressed with the Rangers' effort, especially early in this game. Winnipeg beat Tampa Bay, so that means the Rangers and Winnipeg are tied for that last playoff spot. Good news for the Rangers is this. Rangers have the tiebreaker, and they have a game in hand, so that's good, but the Rangers got to pick up their play. St. Louis beat Vancouver. That could be a preview of a first-round matchup in the NHL playoffs. Minnesota beat Edmonton, and San Jose beat L.A. So that is some of your doings in the NHL. One other mention from the sports world yesterday. Pat Summerall passed away. Of course, Pat Summerall played in the NFL. Long-time broadcaster. You remember him with John Madden all those years doing those games. They were a classic combination. So Pat Summerall passes away at the age of 82. Pat Summerall, you will be missed. So that is kind of your doings from yesterday. Without further ado, let's go to our Major League Baseball State of the Union. I'm going to start in the American League. We're going to go division by division, last to first. Records, a little synopsis. Very early in the baseball season. We're going to have a million of these. Let's start in the American League East. Let's start in last place, fifth place, Tampa Bay, 4-9, built on pitching and defense. Now, we know they can do that. They cannot hit. Now, I didn't think they were going to be a big hitting team. They have to hit more than this. I mean, Longoria's got to have a monster year. I thought he would, but other people have to step up. 4-9 Tampa Bay. They can't hit at all right now. Terrible start for Tampa Bay. And I like their pitching. I like their manager, but their offense has been atrocious so far. Number 4, Toronto. They are 6-8. Of course, Reyes looks like he's going to miss a couple of months. Toronto not off to a great start either. Number 3, Baltimore. They're 7-6. Matt Wieters was off to a very, very slow start. He did hit a home run last night. Let's see if he can pick it up. Number 2, the New York Yankees. They are 7-5. Yankees got to basically hang in there, hold the fort down until they get some of these guys back like Jeter, Teixeira, Granderson, the A-Rod. The list goes on and on and on. They got a million guys on the DL. They're hanging in there right now, just hanging in until they get some of these guys back. And number 1 right now in the American League East, the Boston Red Sox, 9-4. Buchholz, Lester pitching out of sight. Boston, very surprising. They have a good recipe for success, though. Good pitching, good defense. I like what I see early in the year for Boston, better than I thought. So that is your American League East. As far as your American League Central, number 5, we have the Cleveland Indians. They are 5-7. Masterson's been pitching good, but they need a lot of work, Cleveland. I mean, they need a ton of work. They're going to have to build this team from the ground up, basically. Cleveland needs a lot of work. Number 4, the Chicago White Sox, 6-8. Adam Dunn batting 130. That's not a good sign. I mean, we don't expect Adam Dunn to win any batting titles, but 130 is a little light. Number 3, Minnesota, 6-7. They have the fewest strikeouts by any pitching staff in all of baseball. Number 2, Kansas City, 7-6. Their pitching has been surprisingly good. They cannot hit either. They are 7-6, doing a decent job. Got to pick up their hitting. And number 1 in the Central, to me, the class of the division, Detroit Tigers, 8-5. They are on a 9-game road trip. They took 2 or 3 from Oakland to start it off. Detroit, to me, is the class of this division. Over to your American League West we go. The Houston Astros are 4-10 in last place. Listen, we know the Astros are a bad team. They're not going anywhere. They did have a respectable week that week, so I don't want to pile on Houston. Number 4, the Angels, 4-10. I mentioned this before. Bad pitching, Weaver out, lineup not firing on all cylinders. Look lost early in the season. I mean, they're already 6 games behind Oakland, and Oakland is a good team. Angels really digging themselves a big hole. I mean, they're even 5 games behind Texas, who's a decent team. Don't like what I see at all from the Angels. Thought they'd be a lot better than this. It's only 14 games in. No need to panic. But Angels, come on. Got to pick it up. You're better than this. Number 3, Seattle, 6-9. A lot of injuries. Their whole outfield is hurt right now. Everyone in their outfield is hurt. A lot of injuries for Seattle. Number 2, Texas, they're 9-5. Ogando pitching well. Texas is still good even without Hamilton. I don't know if they're a World Series team. I do think they can make the playoffs, though. Number 1, Oakland, 11-4. Very good team that nobody knows about, especially here on the East Coast. We forget about Oakland. I'm telling you, don't sleep on Oakland. They are a good, solid team. Check out Oakland if you ever can. Very nice baseball team. So that is kind of where you are in your American League. As far as your National League, let's start in the National League East. Number 5, the Miami Marlins. They are 3-11. 20 runs scored in 12 games, and they've only hit 2 home runs. Are you kidding me? Pitching hasn't been bad. Can't hit at all. Stanton's the only hitter in their lineup. He's even been banged up. He doesn't have a home run yet. 20 runs in 12 games. I mean, that is atrocious. Miami looks like one of the worst teams in all of baseball. Number 4, Philadelphia, 6-7. Holiday was good finally the other day, but that was against Miami. So, I mean, what do we take from that? Miami can't hit against anyone. I mean, I could probably throw a shutout against them. Holiday was better the other day, but it was against Miami. We'll see what Philadelphia can do. Philadelphia needs their pitching, needs Hamels, Lee, Holiday, all to be good. Number 3, we have the Mets. They are 7-6. Harvey's been great this year. How good has Harvey been? Lights out. Now, the Mets did get swept in Colorado yesterday. Still, the Mets are 7-6, doing an okay job. I like what I see from Harvey. Now we'll see if they bring Wheeler up. Mets have some decent pitching to build around. Number 2, Washington, 8-6. They got roughed up by the Braves over the weekend in Washington. I didn't like how the Braves pushed Washington around in that series. I think Washington is one of the best teams in baseball. I didn't like the way they got pushed around at home by the Braves. And number 1, the Atlanta Braves, who I'm just speaking about, they are 12-1 on absolute fire. Jay Upton on fire, 8 home runs. They destroy Washington in a 3-game set down in Washington. Atlanta right now can do no wrong, 12-1. Over to your National League Central. Here we go. Number 5, the Chicago Cubs. They are 4-9 in last place. They're a comedy of errors. I mean, they cannot field at all. Every time I see a Cub highlight, they're either letting the ball go through their legs, throwing the ball away, dropping a pop-up. I mean, the series they played against the Giants was some of the worst fielding I've seen since the Bad News Bears. I mean, just atrocious fielding by the Cubs. Number 4, the Milwaukee Brewers, 4-8. A lot of injuries for Milwaukee. Hart on the DL. A. Ramirez on the DL. Braun's missed some time. Injuries after injuries. I mean, they have to have their hitters in the lineup because we know they don't have too much pitching. Number 3, Cincinnati, 6-7. That's a bad start for Cincinnati. 1-5 last week. Cueto to the DL. Very disappointing start. Jay Bruce hasn't hit a home run yet. Votto only has 1. Remember when Votto hit like 40 home runs a couple years ago? What's happened to him with his power? I mean, Cincinnati, very disappointing start. Number 2, Pittsburgh. They're 6-7. Good pitching. They can't hit. McCutchen can hit, but can anyone else hit? Alvarez, who had 30 home runs last year, yet to hit one this year. Pittsburgh needs to pick it up with the bats. And number 1, the St. Louis Cardinals. They always find a way. St. Louis is another one of those classic traditional teams that always finds a way. Their pitching has been out of sight, and they have a ton of injuries, St. Louis. Carpenter done for the year. Vercal done for the year. Freeze started on the DL. Their pitching has been amazing. Can never count out St. Louis. They are number 1 in the Central right now. And over to your National League West we go. In last place, the San Diego Padres. They are 4-10. Volquez, who's their opening day starter, who's supposed to be the ace of the staff, 0-3. He's given up 17 runs in 12 innings, and that's the ace of their staff. Enough said. They did beat the Dodgers 2 in a row, though. Number 4, the Dodgers, 7-7. Greinke out 2 months. Since Greinke's gone out, the Dodgers have been stumbling and bumbling. Lost 4 of 5. Before that, the Dodgers were playing well. I think that's a big loss for the Dodgers. Greinke is an ace-type pitcher. Capuano fills his spot in rotation. Capuano got shelled by a light-hitting San Diego team last night. Big loss for the Dodgers. 7-7, sputtering right now. Number 3, Arizona, 8-5. Off to a nice start. 9-game road trip coming up. Nice start for Arizona, 8-5. I do like Gibson as the manager. Number 2, the San Francisco Giants, 9-5. Pence off to a really nice start. We know they can pitch. You can never count out San Francisco. With that pitching, they're going to be there. With Buster Posey, they're going to be there. San Francisco is a threat. They're going to be there the whole season. And number 1 in the West, the Colorado Rockies, 10-4. I mean, what a nice job by Colorado. They sweep a double dip from the Mets yesterday. Colorado is 8-1 against bad teams, so they're beating up on the bad teams. Nice job by Colorado in first place this early in the season. Don't know if they can keep it up, but doing a nice job. Tulowitzki looks good so far. C. Gonzalez having a nice year. He hit a home run yesterday. Nice job by Colorado early in the season. So that's kind of where you are very early in the baseball season. The baseball season is an absolute marathon. It never ends. We're going to be talking baseball into October. That's kind of where you are. As far as Wednesday, what to watch, of course, you got all your baseball tonight. Everyone in action around the baseball world. As far as your NBA tonight, remember, this is the last night of the NBA season. Very important out west. Remember, the Lakers are fighting with Utah for that last playoff spot. Lakers beat Houston tonight in Los Angeles. Lakers are in. Or, if Utah loses at Memphis, the Lakers are in. Utah can only get in if they win at Memphis and the Lakers lose. So, advantage Lakers, clearly. I expect the Lakers to win tonight. I think they can take care of Houston. Now, also, I didn't realize this the other day. Lakers with a win against Houston, I think, can get the 7 seed. The Lakers win tonight. They tie Houston for the 7 seed. I think the Lakers have the tiebreaker, so the Lakers could go all the way up to the 7. That's very important because if you're in the 8th spot, you're going to play Oklahoma City. No one wants to play them. Lakers play Oklahoma City, they're going to lose. You go to the 7th spot, you play San Antonio. Now, I don't want to disrespect San Antonio, but they have a lot of age and injuries on them. Ginobili may miss the first round of the playoffs. I mean, they just released Jackson. They signed Tracy McGrady, San Antonio. Parker's just coming off an injury. The Lakers just beat them. So I would much rather, if I'm the Lakers, play San Antonio than a young Oklahoma City team with Kevin Durant. So very important game for the Lakers tonight. It's a big game for Houston, too. Houston has a better chance against San Antonio than Oklahoma City. And this is all set up because Houston lost to, of all teams, Phoenix the other night, which I never thought was going to happen. So big, big doings out west as far as the bottom of the conference. I would expect the Lakers to get in. I think they will take care of business tonight. So you want to keep an eye on that. Of course, tomorrow we'll know all our playoff matchups in the NBA. As far as your NHL tonight, really great game tonight in the Eastern Conference. Montreal at Pittsburgh, a real doozy of a game. Top 2 teams in the East. Very nice game. Buffalo at Boston tonight. Buffalo's still hanging on. Need to have this win tonight. Detroit at Calgary. Detroit can't afford any slip-ups against a bad Calgary team. Detroit needs this game. And Columbus at Anaheim. Not an easy task for Columbus. They're right there for that 8th spot. Won't be easy to beat Anaheim out there in Anaheim. Okay, so that's kind of where you are as far as what to watch tonight. As far as tomorrow, we're going to go through all the NBA players. We'll go through the matchups. I'm going to pick all the games, the championship, that whole thing. We'll do wall-to-wall NBA tomorrow because we're going to know all the matchups for the playoffs that start over the weekend, starting on Saturday. Friday, I'll preview the weekend as well, throw in a couple movies, anything else going on in the sports world. I also want to preview the big Austin Trout Alvarez fight down in San Antonio this weekend. That is a very underrated fight. Very, very nice fight. I'm going to preview that on Friday. Trout against Alvarez. Okay, so you guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the support. You guys, stay safe. Think of the people up in Boston. Let's hope they catch this person very, very soon that committed these crimes. We'll be thinking about Boston, you know, forever from this time forward. You guys stay safe. Enjoy the games tonight. Keep an eye on that Western Conference playoff race in the NBA. I will talk to you guys tomorrow, Thursday. Take care.